Hello, hello. If you're watching me right now, you have entered into the Coaches Lounge with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley. And this is where I get to spotlight individuals that's raising the bar in people's life, not in just in general, like how they speak or they coach or they educate or they mentor or they write a book. Everything I try to bring them on because a lot of times I don't see too many podcasts like give that selfish to give them the love, to give that spotlight, to give that visibility so you know who they are. And then after you meet them, you might just want to work with them or you might want to get into their world and see what they can do for you. That's what I call increasing your growth in your life. I always tell people it's nothing wrong with getting other individuals in your life to help you. Coaches are okay, mentors are okay, educators are okay. Just because you need somebody doesn't mean you have a problem. Some people be like, "Oh, I got this problem, so I got to go see, this coach or whatever." Sometimes it's just you to enhance yourself. So, with that said, I bring on amazing individuals, expertise in all areas. And I have a wonderful, wonderful person that we're going to be talking to tonight and conversating with. Now, usually when I bring on the ladies on my show, I call them queens. So, I've been having a lot of men come on my show lately, and I've been loving the kings come on. They have been amazing, giving us some golden nuggets out there. So we have today, if you're watching morning, noon, or night, yes, this show is like all over. I have to say I am global right now because the person that I'm about to present, King James Han, he's from Australia. I always say I love my family global. So he's basically releasing his third book, a novel base, and he's this is a book of 3 out of 10 parts that he's writing. So we're really going to get into more of what he does, what he's going to be doing with that. Plus, we're going to hear some tips. We're going to hear some, things that, when it comes to writing your book, writing a novel, understanding how to put it out there, putting pen to paper. He's going to give us some tips on that too. So I'm going to push myself away so we can get a chance to listen to King James right after this video. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. If you're just chiming in, you're at the Coaches Lounge with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley, as your host. Now, I say that quickly because I like to get down to with my guests. So, Mr. King James, yes, I have made you royalty. King James can. How are you doing today?
Fine, Beckett, Barbara. Yeah, glad to be here.
I'm glad for you to be here too. So I like before we even start off with talking about amazing pieces that you've been writing and everything. I want to hear some backstory because I always like to hear stories of how people got to where they are. So can you share a little bit of that first?
Yeah, sure, no worries. I'm a teacher, retired teacher, primary school, what you call elementary school. I was a music teacher, and as well as doing music, I sort of fiddled around with doing short movies. I eventually was talked into writing some scripts for major movies, one of which I put forward and became the producer of. It was quite it was all right. I wasn't happy with it, but
Mhm.
I had other people do it. I was just a producer. Anyone who's a producer understands logistics and the problems that arise from that.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a nightmare, but yeah, someone has to do the job.
Yes.
So the movie didn't do very well, and I wasn't happy with everything about it. So I decided to do a short one myself, and I just with some friends and a couple of kids I know from school, I did this short movie, and I did it my way. Now that's important in this conversation
Mhm.
because I sent it out to various film festivals, and it was accepted at Cannes and shown at
Mhm.
Cannes. Now everyone knows Cannes in France is the biggest film festival in the world,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I was pretty chuffed at that. But more than being chuffed or happy, I learned something, and it applies to what the next step. And what I learned was that you must be true to yourself. Don't listen to other people. People may say this, that, and everything. You have
Mhm.
to have the ability to take in information, digest it, and then shape it or use it if you wish. But make up your own mind. Be strong of mind in what your
Mhm.
direction is, and that's
Mhm.
important. A lot of people, yeah, muck around and they don't make a comment of what's right for me. What am I
Mhm.
doing? Is this correct for me?
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, that was that, and I had these scripts left over, these screenplays. I had about three left over, and I wasn't going to use them. And then COVID hit, and I thought,
Mm.
oh God, do we remember COVID? Oh, it was awful, and everything shut down. I'm sure you were
Mhm.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was all over.
yeah, yeah. So I decided, well, here I have a film script, a screenplay that is. And I thought most people, when they make a film, they buy the rights to the book, then they send it to someone to write the screenplay, and then they do the production house does the film. So I
Okay.
thought I'll do the reverse. I've got the screenplay, I'll extend it into a book. Why not? And so I did, and that's where the
Mhm.
first novel, Louina, came from. It was an extension from a screenplay.
Wow. See, it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're getting to the point where you want to go.
Yeah,
That's what I loved. I learned that whole
yeah,
thing. This is what you just said. People always say you got to go this way. You went a different direction, and still it
yeah,
happened. Yes, yes, that's wonderful. So
yeah.
with going a little bit into that, thank you for your story because, like I said, I always like to see how you got to that point, and I like how you said I love how open you are. You say, I really didn't like it. I was like, no, this is not going to work. And that's okay because that's when you find out what you really like, right? You really
Oh,
start getting
yeah.
to your purpose and your passion. Yes.
You've got to
Yes.
be true. Also, you've got to be true to yourself.
Mhm.
If you look at it and read it, it's like writing songs. I've written many songs, and
Mhm.
one of them won a major competition here. And
Oh.
well, that's great, a radio competition. And I had a record contract lined up with Sony Music and all that for the band I was looking after. And wasn't my band. I just gave it to the band, helped them. But the I was always amazed how the song won. I thought, look, it's a
Mhm.
nice little song, but and then I found out it won because it fitted the categories. They had a certain way of looking. They got 2,000, 3,000 people send in CDs or whatever,
Mhm.
and they just played a bit. And they said yes, and it goes on the yes pile. No, and I said to him, I said, well, how did we win? They said, oh, we play the first 5 seconds and say yes or no, throw it on
Oh,
the yes
wow.
pile. Then a week later, they go back down to 500. They play first intro and maybe the first line of singing.
Mhm.
That goes in the S pile. You're now down to 100. Then they play the first line of singing and the first chorus, and oh yeah, that's fair. And it just
Wow.
fitted the
True story.
category. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was really quite funny. I mean, it was a
It
good
is
little
kind of
song.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how they, like you said, they had to choose through all. When you think about it, they probably get a lot, so they had to find a
Yeah,
way to kind of really narrow it down,
yeah.
like you
They
said.
don't, they don't listen to every song, but they just fit. You've got to fit the category,
Gotta
and
go, and
that
you
was
fit
it.
the category.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
congratulations! Out of all that, you still got picked. So no matter what, you did
well,
that.
writing
Awesome.
songs is like writing a book in a way. In a way,
Mhm.
um, people say to me, "How do you write a song?"
Mhm.
And the answer is really quite simple. Um, to write a song, you have to close your mouth, close your ears, and open your
Mhm.
eyes. Songs are all around you.
Mhm.
Every person, I noticed on your broadcast introduction about people advancing themselves and learning. Well, that's what opening your eyes is all about. looking at people and learning how each individual reacts and their characteristics. If
Yes.
you note that, then there's your song, because everyone's different and everyone has a story.
Yes, I love it. You're talking my language. You're talking my language, King. So now with that, let's go into a little bit because I know, like you said, you've been writing and doing songs and doing novels. So what made you just to go more deep into the Fit Girl? Because I know you. This is a part two of a lot of series that you're doing, right? So can you give us a
Yeah.
little detail on that?
Well, when the first novel finished, that was called Luina,
Hmm.
I finished it. And then after a while, I sat down and said, but what happens to her?
Mm.
She's had this confrontation. They've solved the problem. I won't say any more than that. And then what happens to her? So I started writing the second novel as an ongoing part of the series, and then in the second novel it moves on, jumps 2 years, and she gets into a journalist course at university in Tasmania. Now, for the people in America, they would know where Tasmania is. But Tasmania is a small island. It is a state of Australia below the mainland as you
Okay.
head towards Antarctica. Um, and so she was in Tasmania. She went to the university there. Once there, she gets involved in all sorts of things. And that leads to the next novel where she has involved in an investigation. And at the end of the next one, that's the third one,
Mm-hmm.
she gets seconded into what we call ASIO, which is like your CIA. And
Oh.
they ask her to help out, and
Mm-hmm.
she's unsure, but eventually she does, and that leads to more jobs and more involvement. And
Mm-hmm.
the sixth book, which has been just released on Amazon,
Wow.
is yeah. I've done six, released six. I've written the other four, so I've
Okay.
written 10. The sixth book is called Two Daughters, and it's about two young girls who are kidnapped by terrorists. And and it's, to be quite truthful, it's not necessarily the nicest story. I was pretty graphic in the dramatic detail,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was a story that needed to be told, and I'm very happy with it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
a bit gut wrenching at times. But I
Mm-hmm.
was very I got quite emotional writing it.
Wow. Yeah.
At one time, I was crying while I was typing. Uh,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a very difficult situation, but it had
Mm-hmm.
to be written. It had to
Yeah.
be written.
Yeah. That's what
So
I tell people. Even when those emotions stuff come out when you're writing or doing a song or whatever, I feel like you're really getting to the heart of it, when you do that.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah, I can kind of understand why you were in that position when you were writing it. Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
but I'm very happy with it. It attacks all boundaries purposely without being condescending. It's I'm happy with it.
That's good. So now, I just want to make it clear. So you write all 10 already, or you're into your when is your
No,
next?
I've written all 10.
Okay.
Each book, it's a series. Each
Hmm.
book leads to the next one, leads to the next ones, etc., etc. They all link.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so if you buy the first book called Luina and move to the second book, there's a lot of logical connection. So there's no
Okay.
problems there.
Now, when you were thinking about when you started with the novel, I know you gave some backstory to that, but what kind of audience are you kind of looking at that's reading these novels just to get an idea on that for the audience?
Well, it's a bit difficult because I think it's wide ranging. It's not
Hmm.
probably for the 16 or under, it's not for them. But 17, 18-year olds and above, yes, I've had people who are older who have bought the book and got back to me and said they thoroughly enjoyed it. I've had younger people who have read the book and said, oh, look, I enjoyed that. So, it's a wide range. I
Hmm.
think when you've got a heroine like her who stands up for herself,
Hmm.
I think that has a lot of positive attitudes for various people,
Hmm.
especially young people, and older people can relate to it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it covers all age groups, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you mentioned because a lot of times, people, buy books or look at books or, read the captions of it to see how it can relate or help them out. And you mentioned
Yeah,
about empowerment. So, especially within the novels that you wrote about, this certain young lady. So, would you think that this would go towards a lot of young women to help them conquer that, or get to that point? You
Yeah.
think that that
Oh,
would be?
absolutely. Because being an ex-teacher, I have taught children. I've also taught a bit of what you call high school, secondary school,
Mhm,
and and the biggest problem with people is that, and it's understandable that when they go to secondary school and they go through puberty and they come out of that, they're very unsure about who am
mhm,
I, and where's my place in planet Earth. And my character, young Beth, in the very first 3 pages, or she is orphaned by the death of her parents in a road
mhm,
accident, and she has to go and live with an aged uncle, who's the only relation they've got, in
mhm,
Tasmania. And she
mhm,
learns to stand up for herself. She has to. There's no option. The uncle's a crusty old man, and it's difficult. And
mhm,
lots of kids out there, if they read it, would understand that, because many live in houses where it's not necessarily loving and
mhm.
caring. And
Yes.
Beth is in this difficult housing situation, and she
Mhm,
has to try and make the best of it. And she
mhm.
does.
Mm,
She tries to fit in, but she also grows in strength, mental strength, that is.
yeah,
And yeah. So it's
yeah,
important, I think, that young ones would, well,
yeah.
anyone above 16 would read it and they would relate to it, I think.
Mhm. Well, I like that. I like how, like you said, it gives relate. It kind of, like you said, in your stories, people can relate because they might be going through something similar. And I know a lot of times people kind of look for themselves, in in movies, novels, music, to make them understand that they're not alone. See, I always
Yeah,
tell people, you're not. I know you might be going through a lot, and it's really like the earthquakes and floods of life. I always call it. But I always tell people too that you're never alone. That's why it's so important what you're doing by creating those novels and those stories for people, so they can feel a little bit more like, wow, I'm not the only one that's going through this like
absolutely.
story. Yeah.
And in that first novel, she befriends a local lady who's a bit older than her, who's about 22 or 3, and she's a dance teacher. And Beth helps her because she has a background in aerobics. She helps her with dance, and they become a bit of an item, in so much that a friend who you have to rely on. And it's
Mm-hmm.
important to have friends when you're in difficult positions.
Yeah.
Have a friend who will stay with you, be
Mm-hmm.
steadfast. In
Mm-hmm.
Australia, we have a saying, you're all right, mate. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
that basically that means your friend is saying to you, yeah, you're okay. I'm here for you, which is a
Mm-hmm.
very good manner of speech.
Yeah.
It's excellent knowing that you've got someone there with you.
Yes, I love the thing when they say mate in Australia, because it makes
Yeah,
me feel like I feel like a friend. I feel like they really care about you, and that's what they told me.
yeah,
All
it's
those feelings. Yeah,
Australians don't do it in a throwaway way. It's
no, they
funny. You
don't.
can talk to a high level person, and you say, "Yeah, g'day, mate. Yeah, how you doing?" And the way person says it, it's like
Mhm.
they really mean it. It's not a falsehood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
I like
feel
it.
the yeah, I feel the meaning. I mean, I feel it when you say it more so than someone say, "Yeah, I'm your friend." I'm like, really? You start saying, "I don't know about that. That doesn't sound too."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, so I'm going back to Australia.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it. So now moving forward, can you give like the audience maybe some tips or some like things that you've learned throughout your journey of writing novels? Maybe somebody else out there might want to be, working on one or working on one already. What kind of tips
yeah.
that you can?
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't know if I'm the right person, but as I said before, learn if you're thinking of writing something, look
Mhm.
around. The story's there. You just got to be able to see it.
Mhm.
That's the first thing. Second thing is
Okay.
writing a novel takes time. I'm different in a way. My brain's different, but I'm different in a way that I use a pen and paper, what you call hard copy. And I write my novels. I actually sit on a beach in a chair,
Oh.
and with the everyone to their own way, and I let my brain go. I have my idea, my outline, but I don't
Mhm.
like to have it too tightly worked out. I like
Mhm.
it free, that my brain can expand in certain areas, And
Mhm.
then I put pen to paper and start going. And in about a month and a half, it's done. I'll knock out about 10 pages or whatever on the beach.
Mhm.
And for me, that works. Other people,
Mhm.
I can't type. I'm a very poor typist. So when I
Mhm.
come home, I've got this foolscap book or two books of handwritten lines. And I say, right, now I've got to type it up. And look, two fingers, top, yeah.
Just
It's,
like
it's all it's so slow. Um, but I type it up and then I
yeah,
review it. But I like to write it freehand. There's a
yeah,
kinesthetic feel of the flow of
yes,
on the paper.
I agree with
It,
you.
it eases your brains and you just tend to go with your flow. It works.
It
That's just
does.
me.
I mean, I love this you said that because I'm the same way. I mean, I have to. Of course, I have to in my business. I have to type up and do things, but I really like the like you said the writing because I write in journals. I use a journal all the time for myself, for my stories, and then for other things in my life. And I like to write. And people are like Barbara, you're some old school. I'm like, but this makes me feel
Yeah.
comfortable, and I can get my
Yeah.
thoughts out that way. Yeah.
I agree 100%. And writing a song, the same. You look at some of the great lyrics that have been written by people over the years, and
Hmm.
you see a sheet that they wrote it on, and it's handwritten,
Yeah.
and then it's got scratchings of Bob Dylan or someone, and he's written this and he's written that, and that's
Mhm.
scratched out, and that's scratched out, and he's added this over top, and you can feel what he's writing.
Yes.
And the same with the people like the Beatles, or it could be anyone. And
Yeah.
you can see the pages and they've written
Mhm.
this and how they've written it and
Yes.
yeah, it's the way to go.
It's something about that because now that you're talking about that, a lot of times when you see history and they show things like on TV or something like that, or a documentary, and they show back in the day, like if famous writer or famous, like you said, musician, and they show the paper that they wrote it on and how they, like you said, scratched out. That to me, that is like so, and just enlightens me because they just took that time to really just put their all into it. You can see it in their writing. Sometimes when you just type it, I'm like, okay, you just typed it up. But when you
Yeah.
see it in writing, you see that the work there, you see the thoughts that they were having, right?
Yes,
Oh
very
yeah.
much. You can almost feel the thought. Yeah, very much.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It's like you
yeah.
were there with them while they were writing it. It's like, wow. It's a good impact. I tell
Oh
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And if you get on the flow, it just goes. Once you're
Yeah.
going, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
you
like,
just go and go, and it just comes out quite easily.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
I get my, like I said, I get my journal. I start to write. First, I'm like, okay, today. And then all of a sudden, I'm like,
Yeah,
I look up, I'm through 5 pages already.
yeah, yeah. I still use a diary. I write appointments and things in a diary, handwrite my diary.
Me
Um,
too.
yeah,
Me too.
yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
That's the way to
Yeah.
go.
That's the way to say like you said. See, we both agree. That's the way to go. I was
Yeah.
going to ask you, like, maybe one other tip. Like, have you seen where maybe there was a mistake? Because we all learn from each other. Like I say, we're forever learning from each other. Have you ever seen like maybe something that you were like, oh, I shouldn't have did that, and if I talk to somebody, I'll make sure that they don't do that. Have you ever had something like that in?
Well, what happened was when I wrote the first book, I was pretty chuffed. Oh, I've written a book. This is great. And I talked to a few people and eventually found an editor. And I said, yes, it has to be edited. Well, I gave it to this lady. She was wonderful. She tore it apart. Tore it apart. And there was more red lines on it than there was actual typing. And I went, oh, but mainly it was grammar, 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 grammar.
Yeah.
How you use your apostrophes, what tense are you writing in. And
Mhm.
I spoke to her and she said, I think go back and do a little bit of study on, on writing grammatically. She said, but your story's good. The
Oh,
storyline's fine, but your
yeah.
grammar's. So I went back and did some courses and got the grammar right and
Mhm.
fixed that part of it up. Then I gave it to my brother, who is a retired architect now, and
Okay.
he's had various things published. And he read it. And he said, "No, no, no, you're off track here. No, get rid of that." And he did an editing job as well. So we
Wow.
fine tuned it with different people,
Yes.
and then the end part, what we ended up with was fine.
Hmm.
And so yeah, that was it. Then when
Yeah.
I went to the second book, I was
Okay.
told by someone, use Grammarly. I thought, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Use Grammarly. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay. That'll fix everything up.
Hmm.
It didn't. The
Oh.
problem, I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you, but it was an Americanism, and it didn't understand it didn't understand Australian colloquialisms or slang or whatever
No.
we were trying to say, and it was changing it round. I'm going, wait, woo, 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 that's not what I want, you know. So I did about
You
a
gotta
third of the
revamp
book.
that.
Yeah, third of
Oh,
the book in
goodness.
Grammarly, and then I thought, look, I know what you're doing, and I think I'm okay now. So
Yeah.
then I just let it go and did it myself, and it's fine. I've reread it many times, and
Yeah.
they're all
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, I love, see, that's why I say lessons learned when you go through certain procedures and stuff in your life or what you're doing. So thank you for sharing that story because that helps all of us.
fine.
And it's nice to understand that with Grammarly that they need to change it to whatever, like, change like Australia or Korean or, they should have that
Uh,
type of platform.
no, I think it's just mainly American. There might be an English one. I'm not sure, but that would be just as bad, you know.
Yeah, it would be nice if they had those different, like the different global part of Glamoury. I mean,
Well,
Glamour,
it's
Glamoury. Yeah.
English Grammarly. English is a funny thing, actually. The
Mhm.
language English is not a easy English. English is not an
Yeah.
easy language to speak. In actual fact, there's three tenses.
Yeah.
I make a joke to people that if you took a person from every English-speaking country in the world and put them all in one room,
Mhm.
would they understand each other? So you'd have Australians, Americans, English, Scottish, the Irish, the South Africans, and there's some other ones as well. Would they
Mhm.
understand each other? I don't know.
One thing that I think they would all understand, though, and I always say this to people, they would understand
Yeah.
LOVE. They will
Oh
understand
yeah,
LOVE. Yeah. So that's a universal language right there. So if
yeah.
that needs to always stay. I never want somebody to mess that up.
No, and that's a bit like the old hippies, isn't it? You know, love, peace, man. You know, love your brother,
Yeah,
love your
see?
sister. But these in,
We all know
in
that.
yeah, but that's not that bad.
No,
That's
it's not.
that attitude is a very nice attitude. You know,
Yeah.
love your brother, love your sister, peace, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, if
Um,
you all understand
and
it.
these days, with in our country, we have a lot of aggressiveness of people, and they're obviously aggressive because they're unhappy with their life. If there was more love around, it would be a far better place. I
Yeah.
tell you. Yeah.
Believe me, you're speaking truth here. Thank you so much. I've been saying that for a while now. So yeah, we need to put that up really hard. But I wanted to give you some time, sir, King James, just to get on the screen and any lasting thoughts that you can give the audience, and then I'll make sure they get your contact. So just in case they want to reach out to you, so I'll be back.
Oh, look, thank you. Just to finish with, um, people need to be true to themselves. If they want to do something, uh, build up the courage, do it. Don't be put off by other people saying, "Oh, you can't do that," or "You shouldn't do that," or "You're no good." No, 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 no. Do what you do. Unfortunately, you might get a little bit of flack, but do what you do and accept it and be confident. I know it's easy to say be confident, and many people aren't. But if you try something, you don't fail. If you only fail if you don't try. So when you try to do something, no matter what it is, write a song, write a book, whatever, um, yeah, you don't fail. Effort is its own reward. And that's the only advice I can give people.
That is some beautiful advice that you gave people. Yes. Sometime it doesn't have to take a whole thing to say. Just a few words is very powerful. That was very impactful what you just said.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you look at the Beatles. I mean, in one line, they can establish a song. I mean, you look at John Lennon's "Imagine."
Oh.
You know,
Oh.
each line just says it. You know, and
See, I'm gonna listen to
and
that now after I get off of this podcast. You just said. Yes, that's a
yeah,
masterpiece of a lot more
absolutely.
masterpieces out there. Yes, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
could talk to
and
you. Now you get into the music that you do. That's another show for us. I love it. I
Uh,
love
oh yeah, the music's great. I'm so glad. I thank my parents every day that I grew up in the '60s. What a great time for music, where
it. Yeah.
people wrote from the heart. It wasn't
Yeah.
bland. You know, everything
I
from
miss that.
love songs to protest songs. Even they wrote songs, bubblegum stuff for the kiddies, you
Yeah.
know,
It
and
was still, yeah,
it was
solid.
good.
Like, it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it
No,
was.
I don't really. I don't want to bash nothing from today's world, but
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah. I find today's music, a lot of it's pretty bland.
yeah,
It's all computerized. I don't like
mhm,
computerized music that much. It
mhm.
has its place, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
I would
also,
go back. I'm glad that they have on certain, like Siri or whatever the places that you can stream. You can go back to the 70s and the 80s and the
oh,
60s. I mean, they take you back and you can listen to it.
late 70s, the disco era.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
See,
had
you can get
disco,
away
and
with
over in
it.
England, you had punk music, and they were being pretty aggressive. But
Yeah,
oh, that's life.
even back there with the punk in the 80s and stuff, I love that more than now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's changed. It's changed a lot. So, sir, thank you so much for coming on the Coaches Lounge with me. This has been just a pleasure to get a chance to know you. And the audience out there, please reach out to James. He is amazing, and he's learned a lot through doing all his novels and understanding the pitfalls sometime of what he just gave you some. I know he has a lot more that he can probably share with you. But with that said, thank you again for coming on the
Thank you.
show.
Thank
And
you.
just to remind everybody, what we do here is we spotlight experts' advice for life and in business, but always understand that you should have somebody in your life to help you and guide you and keep forever learning. Always be open to learning. With that said, we'll see you at the next Coaches Lounge. Take care.